Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Today I'm taking a look at Mobile Markets, a smartphone ink game from Arcane Wonders and designed by Ivan Lashin. I was very excited to hear about this game when it first came out, as we loved the original smartphone ink game. And as Mobile Markets was in a much smaller box, I was expecting this to be a sort of smartphone ink light, as it were, a quicker, lighter, smaller version of the game. Well, as it turns out, it was not quite what we were expecting, to be honest. Mobile Markets is a standalone re-implementation of Smartphone Inc., but it's quite a bit different to its older sibling. It does seem to play quicker than the original, but if I was expecting a lighter version of the game, I was in for a surprise. Just opening up the box and the words lighter quickly disappeared off my tongue to roll on the floor, wriggling around until I spelt the words perhaps a little heavier than Smartphone Inc., which I know is a lot more letters than what actually spilled from my mouth, but this just demonstrates what a TARDIS type effect opening up this box has on you. It's packed full of stuff and it all looks so good and intriguing. Okay, let's take a Fun with Boxes look at what you get inside a smaller box Smartphone Inc. game that hints at a big game hidden inside. In Mobile Markets, you find yourself CEO of a multinational consumer electronics company, all geared up and ready for the new mobile technologies generation. And you will compete with other smartphone manufacturers to sell as many goods as possible by researching, running marketing campaigns, and producing products that people really want to get their hands on. You will need to ensure you gain the advantage over your competitors whilst carefully resolving your plans for ultimate victory. Mobile Markets is a standalone game of Smartphone Inc., providing a similar game experience but offering players new mechanisms, more complexity, strategic planning, interaction and competition. Will you join in the race to satisfy the various demands of customers from all around the world? Well, hang on to your seats. It's going to be an exciting ride. Let's start off by taking a look at all the components in the game. First, the player components. Each player will have their corporation board to keep track of the number of goods that they produce, their net profit per sale, the base cost of producing their goods, and the features built into their goods. Talking of features, all players start the game with one feature card that represents a specific need of a customer, for example 5G, along with a starting technology card that will be crucial for the development of your company. You will also get 5 player cubes in your player colour and a double-sided reference card which breaks down the 3 types of customers you will be selling goods to. And finally, each player will receive a pair of planning pads that you will arrange each round to provide certain benefits to your company. The rest of the components are used by everyone. First you have the game board, which is split into 4 parts. The phase marker and scoring track, along with a setup card dependent on the number of players. There are 2 tokens in the game, the progress tokens and the discount tokens. And then finally, there are the various cards that are used during the game. There are the customer cards split into 3 customer types, event cards that are revealed at the beginning of each round, technology and marketing cards, and feature cards. There are also Steve Jr. cards that are only to be used for solo games. Setup. Setting up the game is quite straightforward. Place the game board sections in ascending order onto the table. This will form the 8 phases of a round. Place the setup card matching the number of players below the preparation space of the board. Shuffle the small event deck and draw 5 cards at random and place them face down near the setup card. This will form the timer, as it were, for the game's 5-round playtime. Place the scoring track next to the game board and then shuffle all the customer decks into their separate piles and place them near the board. Then shuffle all the remaining cards separately to create small decks and feature displays. For the technology deck, reveal 4 cards to form the display. reveal 6 cards from the feature deck to form its display, and reveal 4 cards from the marketing campaign deck for its display. Finally, put a pile of progress tokens and discount tokens within easy reach of people, and that's the main setup done. To finish off the setup, each player takes a corporation board in their colour and 5 markers. Place 2 markers in the 0 spaces on the scoring track, one to measure units and the other to measure 50s. Place a marker next to the price marker track of the main board and place the other 2 markers in the 0 spaces of your corporation board. Each player receives a set of planning toolpads, 1 random starting technology card, 1 random starting feature card and a player aid card. And you are all set up and ready to play. Gameplay. The game takes place over a period of 5 years or 5 rounds, and each round has 8 phases, beginning at the preparation phase and ending with the profit phase. Okay, let's look at each step of a game round. Phase 1, preparation. This is the most involved phase with a number of steps, but even so, this is quite quick and intuitive once you start playing. Step 1, resetting the price markers. This is where you reset the player price markers, which must start on the 5 space of the price track on the main board. For the first round, players check their initiative value on their starting technology card, and the player with the lowest number places their cube in the far left space, followed by the player with the next highest initiative, and so on. For each of the subsequent rounds, the player with the lowest points will start in the far left space, followed by the next lowest person. In the case of a tie, use the starting technology cards with the lowest initiative going further to the left. Step 2, reveal event. This is where you reveal the event card, placing it onto the setup card overlapping the bottom of it like this. Then apply the event's instructions, which will modify the standard rules for the game in some way for that round. Step 3, refill the displays. This step is skipped in the first round of the game, but in future rounds you will be resetting the technology, feature and marketing card displays by discarding any cards with a discount token on them and discarding all cards that have a cost of 1. Place a discount token on all remaining cards in each display, and finally refill all the displays back up to 4 cards, with the features cards having 6 cards in their display. Step 4, add customers. Add new customers beneath the board based on the icons shown on the setup and event cards, placing each customer under the appropriate number. The green customers will be placed beneath 2 or 3, the blue customers beneath 4, 5 or 6, and the red customers underneath 7 and 8. And that ends the preparation phase. It may sound like a lot, but as you play, it's pretty quick and very intuitive. Now on to phase 2, planning. Each player takes their 2 pads and secretly arranges them to define their management decisions for that round. You will place 1 pad on top of the other and ensure that at least one of the squares of the lower pad is covered, with at least 1 square of the lower pad visible, and each square must be completely covered or be visible. Depending on how you orientate your pads will decide key decisions that will affect your game that round. These symbols will increase or decrease the price of your product during phase 3. These will give you technology points that you use in phase 4, and these will give you marketing points during phase 5. And each of these will give you goods during phase 6. In addition, for each square covered by the top pad, this will give you an extra additional good for this phase. So, using this as an example from the rulebook, you increase the price of your product by 1, you get 3 technology points, 2 marketing points, 2 goods, plus a further 2 goods for the 2 covered squares underneath the top pad. Phase 3, pricing. This is nice and straightforward. Everyone starts with a base price of 5, and this is the pricing track that determines player order. The player to the left moves first, and then the next leftmost player, and so on. Simply add or deduct your pricing points from your pad. Using our previous example, we had 1 point, so we increase our pricing to 6 and place it in the first available leftmost space on the 6th track. The rest of the players do the same in initiative order, and once complete, the position of the cubes now determines the initiative order from this point onwards, with the leftmost cube being the first player. Phase 4, technology. Again, another straightforward phase. Using technology points, you can buy one technology card and as many feature cards as you can afford. The cost of the cards is shown at the top left of the technology cards and at the bottom of the feature cards. During this phase, you can spend progress tokens to increase your technology points if you have any, and also any cards with a discount token cost one less technology point to purchase. But do not replace any cards taken in this round. Also, if you have any leftover technology points, you can convert these to progress tokens to be used on a future round. Phase 5, marketing. This works in a similar way to the last round, only at this round you will be able to buy one marketing card and any number of private customers. Any card gained this round can be used immediately if appropriate. The cost is shown at the top left of the card, and the customer cards cost one marketing point. Any remaining points must be spent on customer cards. There's no carryover of points in this phase. Keep the customer cards face up along with the other cards by your player board. Phase 6, production. This is a very straightforward and quick phase that can be done simultaneously by all players. You calculate the number of goods you are producing this round, which is the number of goods symbols on the revealed events cards, plus the number of visible goods on your pad, plus the number of covered squares underneath your pad. Simply pop your cube into the goods track to show the number of goods you produce. Phase 7, sales. This is where everything starts to come together in the game because this is where you will sell the goods you have produced. Step 1, creating a product. You can create a better product by adding feature cards to the slots on your corporation board, allowing you to try to meet certain customer demands. And there are 5 different types of features: multi-camera, 5G, NFC, 8K and flexible displays. There are also star icons that indicate how advanced your phone is. The more stars, the more advanced. And most customers will be looking for phones of a certain price and a certain standard. Step 2, determine net profit per sale. First, you have your manufacturing costs. Your base cost as shown on your board is 1, and each feature you add could add to this base cost as shown on any feature card you decide to use. And if you use all 3 feature card slots, there is an additional 1 cost. And the total cost is your manufacturing cost. You have already set your price for selling your products in Phase 3, pricing. You use this figure and subtract the manufacturing costs, and this will give you your net profit per sale figure, which is the profit you will make selling your products. Step 3, sales. Now you get to sell your goods to customers depending on their type, and each good you sell to a specific customer, you put that customer into your sales pile. There are 3 types of customer. There are the variety-seeking customers who will buy at the set price or below, or at any price if the product meets all their expectations. Then there are the regular blue customers who will buy at a set price or below with no specific needs. And finally, the complex pink customers who will buy at the set price or below, but only if their specific needs are met. You don't need to remember this, they are all listed on the handy player aid card. The steps of a sale. 1. Check if you have any private customers in front of you, as you will need to sell to these first, starting with the lowest preferred price and working up to the most expensive preferred price. Only then do you move on to selling to customers in the open market under the game board. Again, you start at number 2 and work your way up. You keep selling and placing the customer cards into your sales pile until you run out of goods or run out of customers willing to buy your goods. If you have any goods left over, unfortunately, no one wanted them. And as a reminder, to sell a good to a customer, it must meet their requirements. And finally, onto the last phase, Phase 8, profit. First, you may be entitled to a bonus from the market share, dependent on how many goods you sold. You will gain 8 points if you sold the most, or jointly sold the most, and then 4 points for second place, and 2 points for third place. Then you resolve any technology or marketing campaign cards you may have and earn points from them. And then finally you get the number of goods sold times your net profit per sale. And you track all your points on the score track. Then, if this was not the fifth and final round, you perform the end phase. The end phase: discard customers from all players' sales piles. Remove any feature cards used and return them to the side of the player board so that they can be used again in future rounds. And reset the markers on the player board back to 0. End of the game. The game ends after the 5th round, and you'll know it's the 5th and final round as the event deck will then be empty. At the end of that round, trigger any technology or marketing cards that trigger a game end, and the player with the most points is declared the winner. If there is a tie, the player with the lowest initiative starting card is the winner. And there you have it. That's how to play mobile markets. The true fun of the game is realising how all the phases link together and using the best cards you can afford that will impact on the game in various ways. It's all entirely satisfying once you've got your head around exactly how the game flows and why you are choosing certain things during the course of the game. There are solo rules for the games too, should you wish to play that variant, using the Steve Jr. cards. I've not played this yet, but the rules are very clearly laid out, so you should not have any problems playing this mode. This is now my preferred way to play Smartphone Inc. Mobile markets work so brilliantly. It's a superbly crafted and designed board game that is fun and thoughtful and interesting to play. Even just thinking about it now makes me want to stop recording and go and set up a game. I really cannot recommend this enough. I'd been wanting to pick up a copy ever since it was released, and so I'm glad I finally have it. It was well worth the wait. 2 massive mobile phone operating fun with boxes thumbs up for this terrific game. Well, thanks as always for watching. Please do consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons if you've enjoyed this video, and take care and bye for now.